Hey guys, welcome to episode 5 of Pop Collaborate and Listen. I'm your host Dave Fensom, just here with a quick introduction to say thank you so much for everyone who's been downloading the podcast and listening to it. You put us in the top 10 for UK music podcasts consistently all last week. To say that we are a little bit surprised and overwhelmed is a massive understatement. I don't know who you people are, but we love you. Please, get in touch with us via our various social medias. We're at PCL Podcast on Twitter, PCL Podcast on Instagram, PCL Music Podcast at gmail.com is the email if you want to get hold of us. And also, just to let you know, I don't think we've mentioned this much, but we do run Spotify playlists that come along to go with every single episode. So basically any song that we mention within the podcast will be on the playlist. So if you hear something, you hear a snippet of it, you want to hear it in full, you want to listen to the whole album, just go to our Spotify site, follow us, and all of the podcasts are there so you can listen along if you want to. I mean, in some cases, I don't think I'd recommend it. Today's album is Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, you can hear what we've got to say on this, make your own minds up. This podcast is brought to you as ever by On The Edge Comedy, Brighton's best new material night, happening on the first and third Fridays of every month at the Carolina Brunswick pub. We've just had a fantastic 1st of March episode with S01E05, who absolutely smashed it. Moving forward now to the 15th, we've got Sarah Isles headlining. We're really looking forward to having her there. You can buy tickets on We Got Tickets or on Eventbrite, so do come along and check it out if you're in the Brighton area or even if you're down for the weekend. What's been going on in my life? Not much really. I've been busy running gigs, doing gigs, living life, being incredibly handsome and lying. Those are the things I've been doing. Krista beat me at bowling twice last week. That was I would say embarrassing, but he's much better at bowling than me, but I did batter him at pool, so that's fine. This is really just an excuse for me to put some of my petty rivalries on track. But anyway, guys, do get in contact with us. Let us know what you're listening to. Let us know what you're making of the podcast. Let us know if you agree or disagree with any of our hot takes, and we will be back to you next week with another episode. Hope you enjoy this one. Cheers. And welcome to episode 5 of the Pop Collaborate and Listen podcast, the podcast where we listen to every single number one album of the 90s and tell you what we think about them, because there's not enough in our lives to keep us busy. My name is Dave Fensom.
I'm Krista Greer.
And we are here today with, our 5th episode. Number one record this week, Krista. What was it?
We're following on from last week when it was a best of. Last week was the best of Bowie, Changes Bowie. This week is actually another best of. So it's not a bit of a mishmash podcast that we're going to do today. This week, the 7th of April 1990, the Carpenters, only yesterday, their greatest hits, went to number 1 in the UK.
Okay. So it's since been re-released, isn't it, as their greatest hits?
Yeah, I mean, there are so many different versions of greatest hits for different territories, for different labels, all this sort of stuff. This has been repackaged a couple of times with very, very minor tweaks. You're still getting the bulk of the same songs, no matter which best of you get.
Lovely. If you're new to the podcast, basically we have a policy that if it's a greatest hits record, we don't do a full review. What we'll do is we'll have a brief chat about the Carpenters, what they mean to you, if anything.
Yeah, indeed.
So what's your take, Chris?
I must admit, right, because I only knew the really big hits before we contemplated doing anything on this. I could have named you probably 3 Carpenters songs. I knew They Long to Be Close to You.
Yeah.
And I first heard that in Parenthood when Rick Moranis sang it in that. I knew Top of the World, and I knew the other one, Calling Occupants of Interplanetary Craft. Their insane song about aliens.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So funnily enough, I know some of these songs through parenthood as well, but mainly in that my mum likes them.
I see. All right, yeah, okay.
Yeah, like my mum was big into the Carpenters.
Yeah.
There was a lot of, there wasn't loads of music in my house really like growing up, but my mum had a few things that she particularly liked. Particularly liked Carpenters. Particularly liked Simon and Garfunkel. So yeah, I've got memories of most. I listened to it and went, okay, I know most of these songs in one shape or form. Totally honest with you, I mean, I appreciate the craft. Mm-hmm. It's not really for me. I'm not that bothered.
Fair enough. I actually really enjoyed it. I listened to it this morning all the way through and enjoyed loads of the songs. Really did. I guess I have a soft spot for that very, not chintzy, but the very smooth MOR sound. Again, not my mum, she was more of into The Cure and The Police and that sort of thing. But my aunt was well into stuff, ABBA, Billy Joel, Elton John, and the Carpenters would have been in there. Yeah. And so I grew up with some of it, and I must admit I really enjoyed a lot of the stuff on here.
Fair enough. I mean, I don't see myself going back to it particularly. Yeah. I don't see myself putting any Carpenters songs on compilations anytime soon. Really. Yeah. No, I mean, I appreciate it for what it was. I don't find it offensive, but it's not really for me. I don't think.
And if someone had said to me, "Do you think Dave's going to like the Carpenters?" I would have said, "Probably not." No, it's not. It's not your kind of thing. I knew obviously the big one, "They Long to Be Close to You," the Burt Bacharach song. I think it's a brilliant song, and I think that they do a really good version of it. They do the definitive version of it. Yeah. I think Karen Carpenter has a fantastic voice. I think that's a big thing in the listening through that. I think her voice is brilliant. Obviously, the production is insanely radio friendly, FM radio friendly. It's designed to hurt nobody's eardrums and never will. Mm-hmm. But I'm okay with that for what it is. I really am. Yeah, I mean,
stay classy, the Carpenters, I guess.
Well, as much as you can. The thing that I thought about whenever I was going through these as well is I think it's obviously a very 70s thing, or it was back then. It wasn't such a big deal that they didn't write these hits. Some of them are their own or they're co-written, but so many of them are other people's songs that they just did and did in their own way and had a massive hit with it. It's back, if you think of the whole Carole King stuff, the Motown thing, other people are the songwriters, and they get in someone who can play and sing.
I mean, that's a pop tradition to this day.
Well, totally, but I think you're much more looked down upon these days if that's the case. Even obviously today's pop is a very different beast. You think of even Beyonce, and she's got a million songwriters. Yeah. But I think back in the day, no one even thought about that. No one.
No, absolutely. I mean, I guess I suppose you've got Aerosmith, haven't you? That using songwriters.
Yeah. Warren.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's a lot of ghostwriting goes on within pop anyway.
Totally. But I think it was just so accepted in this sort of arena back then that okay, it's not yours. You didn't necessarily write it, but this is now your song. And I mean, there was a load of ones I didn't know on here. Fair enough, because I've never listened to the best of Carpenters before, and why would I? But there's ones like my favourite one is one track called Solitaire.
And solitaire's the only game in town, and every road that takes him down, and by himself it's easy to pretend he'll never love again.
I thought it was brilliant. It's a Neil Sedaka song, turns out.
Okay.
Which makes a lot of sense. Neil Sedaka has a lot in common, I'd say, with the Carpenters, because they're both that family-friendly, radio-friendly thing.
Everyone's eyeing their flares.
Oh, yeah, indeed.
There's some hair you wouldn't wish on a dog.
Never. Oh, God. No, that's true. The other thing I noticed about the songwriters is a guy who wrote the ones that were kind of Carpenters songs rather than big covers. A guy called John Bettis, who was in Spectrum, which was the pre-Carpenters. It was Karen Carpenter, Richard Carpenter, and this guy John Bettis, right? So they were a unit, and then Bettis co-wrote a load of stuff with Richard Carpenter that the Carpenters did. He's a big songwriter, turns out. He's done loads of stuff. He has co-written songs, for example, Madonna, Crazy for You.
Oh, not for example. Not the...
No, actually, no, not for the terrible rapper.
I don't mind, for example.
Really?
But yeah, I've got a soft spot for example.
Fair play. But yeah, Madonna, Crazy for You, that's one of his.
Fucking hell, that's one of the best Madonna songs.
Yeah, and I think he's more on the lyric side than the music.
Right.
Because he also co-wrote Michael Jackson's Human Nature.
Oh, that's a brilliant Michael Jackson song.
It is brilliant. Well, but the melody is pretty much written, as far as I know, by Steve Porcaro from Toto.
Right.
But the lyrics were done by this guy, John Bettis. And also, in terms of that, Karen Carpenter, once the Carpenters were kind of on the way out, wanted to do a solo record.
Yeah.
And the record label, they got in this guy, Rod Temperton, who was in the band Heatwave, the disco band, but was also a big songwriter and arranger. So they got him in to do to help out with the writing and arranging.
Yeah.
In the end, the album was scrapped because apparently it was just shite. It was awful. They were going down this disco road with Karen Carpenter, and it turned out terrible. But she made the decision not to record 2 songs that Temperton offered to her. Those 2 songs were Off the Wall and Rock With You.
Fucking hell.
Yeah. Which he then offered to Michael Jackson.
Oh, yeah. And, what did Michael Jackson do?
Well, I've never heard of him since, to be honest.
Fair enough. Mate. Yeah. Fair enough.
I like the fact there's obviously quality songwriting going on as well as the covers. I did like quite a lot of these. And I was thinking that a couple of these ones, Solitaire and one called The Masquerade, I would put in some sort of playlist. If I just had a background playlist, I would put them on. Those 2 as well, they're probably 2 of the more downbeat, kind of sad and miserable ones. So they're not that cheery love song stuff. But I think they're really good.
Fair enough. As we go through this, we should maybe set up alternative playlists. Dave versus Krista playlists.
Yeah, true. It'll definitely be 2 different personality playlists.
Yeah, I feel like I should have more to add to it, but I don't really.
No, but that's the thing. If it's not for you, I enjoyed listening to it, so I did a wee bit of digging, and
it certainly made me feel quite nostalgic. It certainly puts me in a certain mind at a certain time. You know,
fair enough.
Didn't have to make any of my own decisions. People bought me pants. Do you know what I mean? I mean, like my parents.
Married life.
Yeah, not like strangers. You know? I don't know. Funnily enough, my mum still buys my pants because I asked for them for Christmas.
It's pretty much what mums are for, as far as I'm concerned.
42, mate. 42. My mum still buys my pants for me. Marks and Spencers, mate.
Yeah. But that aside, Carpenters aside, what we're going to concentrate on for this podcast is, like I said, the Carpenters was number 1 for 7 weeks in the UK. It was a huge hit. But bang in the middle for 1 week, Fleetwood Mac came to say hi.
Wow.
With their Behind the Mask album.
Oh, wow, okay. Now, I've got to say, do you like me some Fleetwood Mac? Love Fleetwood Mac, in fact.
Who doesn't have, at least 5 or 6 songs they go, those are brilliant. Yeah, sure.
I mean, more than that for me. I mean, I really, really, really love, Rumours, obviously, which is controversially likes Rumours. But I also have a really soft spot for the album that came out before this, Tango in the Night.
Right, yes.
Tango in the Night? Yeah, it's Tango in the Night.
1987, that was.
Yeah, it's, that's got Everywhere on it. It's got kind of Big Love. It was their big comeback record.
Yes, it was.
Kind of got them back touring. And so obviously, I think as we come into this record, expectations are pretty high for it, which is probably why it comes in debuts at number 1.
Yeah, absolutely. They, like you say, they did a big tour of Tango in the Night, that huge worldwide tour.
Absolutely
and
massive.
They were back on top of their game.
Yeah. I mean, one thing you can say about Fleetwood Mac is that they always manage to get on with each other. Very little internal conflict in that band. I mean,
Friends forever.
Friends forever, yeah, like a very laid back relationship. So obviously it was completely the same personnel going into this record, wasn't it?
Funny you should say that. Right. It certainly was not, no.
Who did they kick out this time? Who left this time?
Well, Lindsey Buckingham left.
Yes.
Yeah, one of the founder members, one of the very early members left, and he was one of the big songwriters of the band, and also he was really into the production. He was very precise with every bit of their sound.
Yeah.
So he left. In fact, he didn't even do the Tango in the Night tour. He didn't want to tour anymore. He wrote the album, helped them out with the recording, but then said he wasn't going to do that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, and obviously subsequently he would rejoin the band and then get kicked out again. I'd give up, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is it. So the album's called Behind the Mask. Start as we always do by having a little look at the album cover.
Yes.
Now, this is a Grammy-nominated album cover.
What the fuck? Yeah, because, I mean, for a start, I didn't know they had a Grammy for album covers.
No.
That's insane.
Was it conceptual design?
It's some bullshit.
Yeah. I mean, who gives a fuck about a Grammy, as someone once said.
Quite. And this is the thing, there are, whatever, 200 categories, so it's not exactly a special deal to be nominated.
Sure.
But how is this nominated?
I mean, it's terrible.
It's not, oh my god, that's the worst thing I've ever seen. But you look at it and you go, well, that's something there.
Well, in which case, I mean, I don't want to blow the load, but we'll come back to that as a reference, because you're absolutely right. It is technically sufficient. The concept behind it is not laudable, but it is very much a case of this idea will do.
Yeah.
So what you got, the artist, the guy who took the photos, whose name I should have written down but didn't. He didn't want the band to be on the album, so the photo is supposed to be a spiritual representation of the band. Mate, it's a bunch of people sitting on haystacks. There's someone doing a dance which is racially insensitive, and it just looks like they're about to play a load of music that I don't want to hear, old-timey music.
Yeah, it's bizarre, because like you say, it was supposed to be a representation of the band.
Yep.
If someone said to me, draw something to represent Fleetwood Mac, I wouldn't have a load of strange fucking hillbillies on a dirt road in America, someone playing a banjo and this woman looking forlornly into the distance. No,
but then when you actually, because then when you get into the inside of the album cover, you get some quite spectacular photographs of what these guys were looking like in the 90s. Jesus Christ, there's some haircuts in that.
Oh man, it's incredible. I watched a couple of the videos as well that they've done, and the style is just shit.
Oh yeah, it's awful.
Yeah,
it's of its time. It's the 90s, but yeah.
Well, indeed, yes. If you look back at any band any band of their era who were still going at that time, they had put on the big shoulder pads.
I tell you though, 5 episodes in isn't the most used expression in this podcast. It was of its time.
Yeah, you have to forgive some stuff because it was 30 years ago.
Yeah, I mean it sounds dangerously like the defence from Operation U-Tree, doesn't it? And yeah, let's face facts. Mick Fleetwood isn't anyway.
Quite. But yes, so the album cover is a bad start. I'd say it's a very strange decision to have that, especially, and again I'll come back to this, off the back of a massive selling album. It's not like they're poor or they don't care or whatever. They've got an image to uphold. They're a massive worldwide band. The record company presumably as well is pushing for a great image, and then they just put this thing out. It's bizarre.
I mean, I'm looking through the CD and this is a big fold out kind of like a 16-page booklet.
Oh God, really?
A lot of money has been spent on this record.
Mostly on drugs, I'd imagine.
Well, I don't know. Were they that druggy at this point, do you reckon?
I don't think they were ever not druggy.
Oh, I reckon. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. This doesn't feel like a record fueled by drugs.
No, okay, it's not exactly rock and roll and debauchery.
This
based.
Anyway, let's not talk too much.
Right.
The best thing for us to do, I think, is to crack straight into this with the first track, which is called.
First track, right? First call is called "Sky's the Limit."
Yep.
And I don't know about you. Are you as annoyed as I am about the grammar?
Oh yes.
Yeah. Why? Because they spelled skies, SKIES.
Yep.
The limit.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just a plural. Sky's the limit, not the sky is the limit.
Yep.
I don't understand why they've done that.
Well, it's because they're idiots.
Yeah, fair enough. Alright, yeah, so Sky's the Limit. This was a single, but only in America. This wasn't a single over here in the UK, but it did get them some radio play in the States. So it was pushed as, a bit of a promotion for the album. But here we go, Sky's the Limit.
I feel like I'm in a doctor's waiting room.
If I
This is very MO1.
I mean, look,
There's the chorus.
you know what this sounds like? This is the theme tune for a daytime soap opera.
Oh, that is good. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
This is exactly what this is.
And yeah, Sky's the Limit would be the title as well.
Yeah, there are people whose names you've never heard of, but never want to hear of again. They're turning towards camera, they're smiling, and the sky's the limit, right?
God.
I mean, the last two podcasts we've done, which were Sinead O'Connor and Depeche Mode, we've spent a lot of time on the lyrics.
Yes.
And we are not going to today.
They are so mediocre.
I mean, this song is just utterly banal. It's like, it's the sky's the limit for our relationship. Is it?
All right.
Okay, great.
Great. There are so many subpar lyrics on this album. So many of them are just about love with a capital L, with no specificity, nothing to ground it at all. Just about love. Isn't love good? And just general bullshit.
Yeah, there's no perspective in this song at all. This is not someone singing about something. This is someone going, "Oh, this melody needs some words."
Yeah.
It's proficient and it's dull.
It absolutely is. I from watching the video's full of live performance clips, and again the style that the fashions they're wearing are shit awful. They really are. But it's just blokes in a massive pink shirt wanking off with guitars, and Christine McVie looking like she is very serious about something.
Yeah,
but I couldn't care less.
It's kind of it feels like kind of subpar ABBA 10 years too late and without a sense of humour.
Yeah, it's very po-faced.
Oh God, this whole record is so po-faced.
Yeah, I mean, to me it sounds like the production wise, it sounds like Wilson Phillips, that late 80s bland harmonies. Like, don't get me wrong.
Fucking dare you?
Hey, they've got an amazing tune.
Don't fucking start on Wilson Phillips.
They've got one.
This is
tune.
over.
But it sounds like that production is that late. There's nothing 90s about this to me. This is still stuck in the late 80s.
Yeah, very much.
Obviously, that's when it was recorded, but there's no forward progression at all.
No, this is a lot of very kind of 80s soundtrack kind of vibes to a lot of this. Yeah. But anyway, let's not dwell any more on Sky's the Limit. Let's move on to track number 2, Love is Dangerous.
Love is Dangerous, what? Another fucking ridiculous title. Love is Dangerous, here we go.
Yep. Bit of White Boy Blues.
Yeah.
I'll say an 80s soundtrack. This is you're in an 80s action film, you've just gone into a rough bar, there's a band playing in the corner.
Right.
This is that band, this is what they're singing. You cut to them for a couple of minutes. It's probably someone from Fleetwood Mac wearing sunglasses indoors. It's a cool cameo.
Right, yeah. Terrible hair.
Yeah, it's like Roadhouse or one of those movies, right?
Yeah.
That's what this sounds is. Literally from the first vocal you hear in there, you know exactly what the whole song does. It's verse chorus.
Yeah. I mean, and you say the 80s soundtrack thing. This is the first song on the album where we have there's two new guys came in. Lindsey Buckingham left.
Yep.
They got two new guitarists in to replace him.
Yep.
The two guys had played with them on the Tango the Night tour. They'd done the live stuff, and then they joined the band full time for this album. So this guy, one of the co-writers of this one is a guy called Rick Vito.
Yep.
And it's the first time we'll hear his influence, which sounds very country to me. It's that kind of Garth Brooksy stuff. But he was in Bob Seger's band, and it occurs to me Bob Seger had that song "Old Time Rock and Roll" in Risky Business.
Nice, yeah.
So is that sort of a sound that he's brought in?
Very much.
Yeah,
very, very much so. These two songs sounding very different, totally incongruous to each other.
Yes, definitely.
If you didn't recognise some of the singers' voices, you wouldn't know these were the same band, really, would you?
No, not at all. Not at all. That's what's going to happen when you've now got 4 different songwriters in the band, each with their own ideas. Stevie Nicks and Christine McVie have been in, forever, and they've got their own ideas of whatever's going they want to do. But then you've got these 2 new young blood who obviously want to put their stamp on it, and they're pulling in a different direction. Yeah. Another thing about this one, this reminded me of a Huey Lewis and the News song. Okay. Right. You've probably heard this one. Huey Lewis and the News were they were asked to write the soundtrack for Ghostbusters. Yeah. They didn't have time because they were doing Back to the Future. Yep. So Ray Parker Jr. did Ghostbusters, and then later got sued completely because he ripped off a Huey Lewis and the News song. Yes, indeed. I think that this Fleetwood Mac one sounds like that Huey Lewis one, right? So actually, let's just do another quick recap of Love Is Dangerous. Alright, so that's Fleetwood Mac. Yeah. The Huey Lewis song is called I Want a New Drug, and it sounds like this. I mean, obviously, it's just Ghostbusters. Yeah. But it has the same feel to it.
Yeah, I mean, yes. It's got the same feel to it, for sure. But, I mean, it's got the same feel to it as anything in that kind of blues rock stomp.
Maybe so. It sounds... But to me, the Fleetwood Mac sounds like it should be made in 1984. It sounds dated.
Oh yeah, I mean, without a doubt, like you could hear a Steve Winwood song probably from like mid '80s. That sounds like that. You could probably hear, like a ZZ Top song from the '80s with much better vocals, but
yes. But yeah, all right, fair enough.
It's in that camp. White men that love guitars. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and the lyrics to this are shit as well. Yeah. It's another one where Stevie Nicks is phoning it in. She's only really doing backing vocals, I'd say, on this. It's that this new guy is doing the bulk of the vocals, and the lyrics are terrible. It's all cheesy shit.
Yeah, awful.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, next one, moving on. So the next one is called In the Back of My Mind.
Yes, it is.
And this was a single in the UK. This was the second single. Exactly. Dave and I are looking at each other going, what? Because we've listened to this today. You've probably never heard this song in your life.
I recommend that whenever we do this, you have a listen to the records. Right? But in this case, you really do need to go and listen to this record because this is bizarre.
Yeah, exactly. Out of all the ones that you would have chosen, I don't get this choice. Actually, tell you what, we'll just play a bit of it. But we can't really play too much of the intro because the intro goes on for 2.5 minutes.
Oh yeah, this is a 7-minute song.
7-minute song, and the intro is kind of just people talking and weird noises for 2.5 minutes. It goes like this.
Bills, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. That drum in the background.
But there's kind of a swirly noise. It's kind of like it's like a kind of dystopian, atmospheric sci-fi soundtrack.
Yeah.
So it's kind of, in fact, there's quite a bit of it in terms of the way that the beat goes. They're quite reminiscent of the Terminator theme.
Oh yeah, okay, I see that. Yeah.
Okay, so that's great in and of itself. But why the fuck is it on this record? I mean, it's a bold choice.
Yeah.
I mean, you were talking about Drug Fueled earlier. This is the one where I would say this is. I think I detect some cocaine.
Yeah. Oh, I noticed there in terms of what Fleetwood is doing, because I think Fleetwood is doing some of the speaking at the start. I'd imagine it sounds like him. Yeah. But he's down as Mick Fleetwood on drums, finger cymbals, tambourine, gong, talking drum, and spoken word. Yeah. That's how pretentious he's going there. He's actually labelled himself as doing all that.
Of course he has, mate. Of course he has. Yeah. But it still doesn't erase the...
it's bizarre.
The 1986 Smash Hits Awards or whatever it was. No, it was
88, I think. It was
88 Brits, was it?
Brits, that's the one. Yeah.
Samantha Fox.
He peaked at that very point.
That was wonderful. If you're young and you've never seen that, it's all available on YouTube.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
It's one of the most excruciating evenings of music television has ever existed.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, though. That song, I really like that song. I genuinely really do.
See, like, I quite like it as well. I've written I quite like this, right?
Yeah.
I think more than anything, I like it. Just like, if we get to about 2 minutes when the really heroic guitar lick comes in. Come on, the beat starts up. It's quite nice, isn't it? There you go.
It's beautiful.
I mean, yeah, admittedly, it's a bit the chain. Or a bit Layla, sorry.
Oh, yeah, definitely that.
But it's a breakup song. It's quite a good breakup song as well, isn't it? It's like you're always in the back of my mind.
Yes. Yeah. I can't.
One day I'll forget you and all that.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think musically, it's my favourite tune on here. Maybe because it's just a bit weirder than the rest. The rest is very straightforward. But the chorus is actually pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know if it needs 7 minutes.
No, I mean, it definitely doesn't. Like, there is no need for 7 minutes. I mean, this song has it has a 2-minute intro and about a 2-minute outro as well.
Yeah.
And like, this is not the only song on this. I mean, it's the only song that's 7 minutes. Everything else sits around the 4-minute mark.
Indeed,
right?
yeah.
Pretty much. But it's not the only song with an outro that's far too long.
Well, yeah. I guess that's presumably is part of the two new guys coming in, the two new guitarists, just wanting to just wank off at the end of these songs.
This whole album is full of solos.
Yeah,
some better than others.
Quite.
Yeah, I mean, this is my favourite one so far. But again, it sounds nothing. And these are 3 different songs by 3 different sets of songwriters. These are songs for solo projects. This so far, this is not an album. This is a compilation.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair.
Yeah, I mean, we listened to 2 compilations over the last 2 weeks, and even Bowie, who is so famous for changing his spots between records, that Changes Bowie album is more congruous than this is. And this is supposed to be, an album is presumably supposed to be viewed as a complete piece of work, no?
Well, you would absolutely assume so, especially in 1990, whenever shuffle was something that some CD players had, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you are supposed to listen from A to B, and that's it. But they thought that this was the way forward.
Yeah. So, okay, we're going to, that's 3, we'll do
but that's 3. We'll do track 4. Track 4 is Do You Know, which is another, it's Billy Burnett, the guy who wrote the last one, with Christine McVie.
Yeah.
And this one, so it's pretty different again.
Yeah, I've limited notes on this one.
Right, yeah.
Go away. Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I've written down, all I've written down here is dull love ballad.
Yep.
There's a tambourine.
Yeah.
I couldn't give a fuck.
That's a representative progression of this song.
Yeah, I mean, look, it gets better towards the end. It's polished, if you're being nice to it.
Yeah.
But it is just unremarkable.
There's no tune to this whatsoever.
No, this is when Rumours came out. I was speaking to a friend of mine whose dad was in the record industry, and he was saying that when that record came out, and it was just single after single after single, so that completely changed the game in terms of what you were expected to be able to put out of a record.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, because nothing else was producing that level of singles. Just the whole record is tunes, really.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
This is the opposite of that.
Yeah. Well, yeah. You'd struggle to find tunes.
This is a band who, I listen to loads of stuff that isn't about generating big songs.
True. Yeah.
I don't think that that's the sole purpose of music, but it's quite an important part of being in Fleetwood Mac, isn't it?
If you want to preserve any of your legacy, it is.
Christ, look at that greatest hits record.
The Fleetwood Mac one.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Oh, wall to wall.
I mean, I've got nothing else to add to this song. Tell me what you think about it.
I think it's insipid bollocks. I think they have forgotten to write a tune.
Yeah.
I think they are coasting on Christine McVie's harmonies, trying to suck people in, and there is nothing going on. It's all production and no substance whatsoever. It sounds like a very well produced song, but there's no actual song.
I suppose at this point putting a record out would still make you a lot of money.
I mean, to be fair to them, it did a lot better in the UK. It didn't get anywhere close to number 1 in the US, this album.
Right.
It was only 33 or something like that. But it still would have sold them a lot of copies
But
because they're people back.
But this this was a number one for 1 week only, though, wasn't it?
Over here it was, yes.
Yeah, it kind of popped up and then disappeared.
Yeah.
I mean, the singles did nothing over here at all.
No, they were in the 50s. They
Did well in Canada, though, I think.
It did. I don't know if that says more about Canada or...
Well, let's not get into slagging Canadians off.
No.
I like Canadians and I'd like to visit them
Sure, no,
one of these days.
they've got some good bands themselves, but
Well, yeah.
why have they... I don't know why they took this one to their bosom.
I mean, it was fallow month for beavers. I don't know.
But this, I mean, so far that one, Do You Know, is the worst of some pretty bland shit for me.
Oh, yeah, it's the worst one so far.
Yeah, we've hit a low point at track 4.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue we hit a fairly low point at track 1, but...
Setting that bar.
Yeah, I mean, this is, we're talking about limbos rather than high jumps. Okay, mate. Look, I need a break from this shit for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell the people what else was going on in the albums chart?
Right. Yeah. So what we'll look at, because this is a big time period. Like I say, they were number one. The Carpenters were number one for 7 weeks, and this was in the middle. So we're looking kind of what was going on in that whole time to see what the kind of the rest of the world was doing. So there's quite a few things out. Public Enemy's Fear of a Black Planet, that came out.
The best Public Enemy record.
I agree with you. That's the thing. It's probably not the consensus, but
Well, that should be more controversial, really, shouldn't it? But...
yeah. Well, I suspect if you talk to a lot of hip hop fans, they'll disagree. They'll say it's Nation of Millions, but I think Fear of a Black Planet is a stronger album.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is that I love Takes a Nation of Millions. I think it is brilliant. I understand all the arguments for it, but I love Fear of a Black Planet, and I also really love Bum Rusher Show.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I love Bum Rusher Show, but for me, that's the weakest one of the classics because it's before they really find their sound to me.
Like right now, right this second, if I was going to put a Public Enemy record on, I would probably put on Bum Rusher Show at the moment.
Really?
Just because, yeah, I know all of those records back like so well. I know all of them so well, and I know that Fear of Black Planet is my favourite. I know that realistically Takes a Nation of Millions is the best one per se, but there's something about Bum Rusher Show. There's a playfulness to it, and Chuck's rapping about his car.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's like he's talking about how badass his car. He got the hardest hitting. Maybe got a reputation of being po-faced a little bit. Chuck, very kind of always serious. But mate, he's not always serious. His first song's about how his car's brilliant.
But I like like you said, the playfulness of that, but the sound of it isn't my favourite Public Enemy sound.
Yeah, sure. I know what you mean.
Yeah,
the classic Bomb Squad production is all of Takes a Nation, all of Black Planet.
Oh right, yeah.
Bits of
Apocalypse 91.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And it was genre defining at that point. Whenever they came out with Nation of Millions, suddenly everyone was making records like that.
I think we're going to have to do a bonus podcast on the best hip hop records of 1990.
Could do. Well, actually, there's a couple of them that came out in this period. So we've got Public Enemy, like I say. Just in terms of going through chronologically, Green Day that released 39 and Smooth, which was I think their very first just kind of was it mini album or was it 2 EPs or something like that? Yeah, something like that.
That's quite nuts, isn't it? Really, though. 1990, they are well ahead of that pop punk curve.
Really are.
Yeah.
And this is it. They didn't break until 93.
Well, when you
Basket Case.
Basket Case isn't that even slightly later? Yeah, 94, I would say.
94, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
So they didn't break until then, but this is 4 years previous to that. They were starting out on the circuit. Fair play to them. And Jesus Christ, still going now. This is 28 years on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Bruce Dickinson, Tattooed Millionaire.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard this record.
I've not.
You won't like it.
No. One of the main things I don't like about Iron Maiden is his voice.
Well, I
So,
mean,
I'm guessing
why are we friends?
it has to be. Yeah,
It's because we both like the same Public Enemy records. But no, look. I mean, Bruce Dickinson leaving Iron Maiden was bad because it left Iron Maiden without a frontman.
Yeah.
It was also bad because it gave us Bruce Dickinson solo records. Actually, he hadn't left at this point because it's 1990. They've still got A Fear of the Dark to come out, haven't they?
I see.
So he hasn't left at this point, but he's done it. Oh my God! Have you read any of his books?
Oh no.
Oh. I mean, I don't think you can find them anymore. He wrote, I can't remember if he wrote one or two. But he wrote
These
these.
silly titles, isn't it?
Yeah, it was basically. If you ever read any Tom Sharp,
Yeah.
right? So it's that kind of British sex farce. Okay, like extremely explicit.
Okay.
But it kind of was like he'd read that stuff and he goes, "Oh, this is easy," and it was about this upper class toff called Lord Iffy boat race.
That's the one. Yeah.
And it was like Viz without the wit.
Wow.
It was just a bunch of really bad. It was so bad. I mean, I read it when I was. Christ, I'd read it when I was about 14 or something like that. So my friend Alan bought a copy of it back from the States or something like that.
Right.
For whatever reason, my friend Alan won't be listening to this, but Alan's always got stuff like that.
Right.
Alan would always just have weird stuff that was rude or something. Like, I'll give you an example. Right? Once we were sat in the car and me and my friend Darren were just in there and Alan got in the back of the car and was like, "I've got this new watch." And I'm like, "Oh, right, okay. Yeah, look, it's, I mean, he showed it, and it looks like it just looked like a normal watch." And we were just sitting waiting for something, and he was just like, "Yeah, it's just a normal watch." And then I was like, "Oh, it's just bought a normal watch." And just a beat later, and he went, "Yeah, but instead of saying Rolex, it says bollocks." And that's the kind of shit that Alan would do, right?
Right.
No, the point I was making is I was young when I read this book. And I knew it was shit then.
Oh,
it was
wow.
Like, mate, it was like, I knew nothing about sex, right?
Yeah.
I knew but I knew that this was bad.
I see. Right. Okay. And did he wrote more than one then? Did he?
I believe so.
Oh, right. Fuck
Well, yeah. Anyway, so yeah, if you can find any of those on eBay or in a charity shop, then do pick them up and
Have fun with that.
Yeah.
After that, I've got Ice Cube's America's Most Wanted.
Loved that record when it came out.
Me too. Yeah, it was one of those ones where there's one record shop. Well, there's two record shops in Belfast that I would frequent. One of them would always get more of this sort of stuff in. So whenever I went in and saw the single for it, I was like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah.
Oh shit! And as well, they probably only had one copy because it's Belfast, and who's buying Ice Cube records? I was the happiest man in the world.
Oh, absolutely,
Well,
mate,
happiest
absolutely.
15-year-old in the world. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I got my copy from Soul Sense in Luton.
Right. Yeah. Dance store.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I had a big hip hop section as well. But,
Oh, assuming it's the only place at that point you were going to be getting any hip hop.
but the thing is, as well, like if I were to go in that shop, right, I was not a popular kid at school, but I loved hip hop, and I'd have to kind of go in there and just stay inconspicuous, get my record, and get out.
Oh,
of
I
there.
see. Okay.
Otherwise, I was probably gonna get like mugged for my record.
Oh, shit! Right.
Yeah.
Well, Ice Cube's worth getting mugged for, man.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. Eric B. and Rakim's Let the Rhythm Hit Him.
Yep.
Yeah, which was one of their later albums, but I mean, I think we discussed this recently for a different project. Really, really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of this album at the time at all.
Nah.
As soon as 1988 and their big kind of flurry passed, everything else passed me by, I must admit. But going back to it, it's a wicked album.
Great.
So fair play. The other ones, Babes in Toyland, Spanking Machine.
Right.
Had no idea they were going in 1990.
Nah.
Passed me by. Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, The Good Son.
It's a great record.
I don't know it. I'm not a Nick Cave person. I know you're a huge fan.
Well, I'm the second biggest Nick Cave fan in this house.
Well, yeah.
Like Jenny's, Jenny's got pretty much a discography, so
Right,
I know him from that.
Well, yeah. So The Good Son. Was that one of the first Bad Seeds ones?
Yeah, I believe so.
Right, that would make sense, I guess, timing wise. Tribe Called Quest, People's Instinctive Travels, etc., etc., etc.
It's the least good Tribe Called Quest record.
Yeah, and
Well, no, that's not true. Actually, no, it's the least good of the early Tribe Called Quest
of that classic period.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember when Can I Kick It came out.
Yeah.
And I did. I liked that. That was good fun. But then someone played me Bonita Applebum. I thought, don't really like that one. I heard I Left My Wallet in El Segundo. Didn't really like it.
I love both Bonita Applebum and Wallet.
Right.
I just don't think that. I just don't think that the album holds up as a whole now. I think the singles off of it are still great, but just because if I'm going to go back to Tribe, 9 times out of 10 I'm going to go Low End Theory.
Right, sure.
Because why wouldn't
the Stone Cold classic. Yeah.
And then obviously Midnight Marauders as well.
Yeah.
It's an amazing record.
Yeah.
And you know what, actually, even though it's really, really slated, it reminds me of a certain time in my life, and I really liked Beat Runs and Life as well.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, it's,
Okay.
I mean, when I listen to it now, I'm aware of its flaws, but it was one of those records that was playing when I was having a very good time in my life.
Oh, for sure, and that's a big deal. Okay, well, yeah, there you go. That was the first one was early 1990, and the only other one I've got down that came out in this period is Fugazi's Repeater.
Again, a brilliant record.
Yeah, I must admit, I didn't know them at the time. I had friends who were well into Fugazi.
Yeah, Fugazi for me was, I think, 1993. My friend Grant was really into them.
Mm-hmm.
They were playing Brixton Academy, and I was just going to as many gigs as I could.
Sure.
Basically, I was just in that first rush of gigs, and it's like, yeah, I'll go to that, have a listen to a few tapes. And I tell you, I've been to metal shows, I've been to arena metal shows, and I've been to stuff where people were of my age.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the first show I'd been to. I mean, I would have been like 18.
Right.
And there were a load of dudes in their like 30s.
Okay.
Kicking the shit out of each other, not in a meathead aggressive way, but just in a this is what a pit is like.
Yeah.
And I was out of my depth, but
Right.
I fucking loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it every second of it, and that I think that was what opened up so many other things for me, like Helmet and
Right, sure.
all of that early 90s.
That kind of hardcore sound.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a good gateway.
So, okay, look, we're talking a lot about credible albums and kind of royalty stuff that's coming out. What was going on in the pop chart?
Now the only two new albums in the top 10 in the week that Fleetwood Mac were number one are UB40's Labour of Love 2.
Oh, God, right.
Yeah, for whatever fucking reason. Actually, 3 albums. ABC, Absolutely, which I'm assuming is a greatest hits.
No idea.
Because ABC's peak was, 83, 84.
Yeah.
And Heart, Brigade.
What's on Brigade?
All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You. Which we will be visiting in the top 10 of this week, in fact. But yeah, so the rest of it is the same as what's been going on for the past few podcasts.
Right.
It's those massive Phil Collins, David Bowie, Carpenters, Van Morrison, and stuff like that. So yeah, that's where we are in the world. That's what's happening elsewhere.
So let's dive back in to our second jolt of Behind the Mask.
Yeah, right. We're up to track number 5 of 13, so we're almost halfway through on this one. Track 5 is called Save Me.
Oh, there's some awful synths in this song.
Yeah.
Again, this has got that 80s soundtrack kind of stomp on.
Absolutely.
Now, I was listening to this, and it's pretty predictable.
Yeah.
I do kind of like the main hook in it.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I do kind of like it, and I was thinking, looking at I'm coming to this fresh, right? Had this song been in the background of some 80s film that I remember fondly,
Yeah.
then would I have a different relationship with this song?
Okay, I see.
Would this be a montage song?
Right, sure. Well, it's got all the qualifications for that sort of thing. It's in that genre.
Yeah.
But
I don't know. It's just Yeah, so I should clarify that. We run a DJ night called Montage where we play kind of songs from 80s action movies, and it's brilliant.
Oh, it's the best fun you've ever had.
Yeah, but this, I don't know. I'm trying to work out whether this is a good cheesy song, and I'm not being good fun enough to enjoy it, or whether it's just very average.
Well, I do think it's a pretty average, but maybe, like you say, if you hadn't come into it as track 5 on this album, if someone had just put it on a compilation of stuff like this, you'd be like, well, that's all right.
Yeah,
maybe so. This was the first single, so even everyone else thought this was the big one. This was the hooker to get you in. But yeah,
the hooker to get you in.
You are
the hooker. If you ever want to know how to get Krista into your restaurant. This was the first single. People thought this was going to be the hit. It absolutely was not a hit. Nah. I mean, look, the thing with this song is, it's not embarrassing. It's not an embarrassing song.
No.
But the problem is, and again, you can apply this across a lot of this record, no one's taking enough risks to embarrass themselves. Unless you're in the third track.
Yeah. Maybe they had only so much risk they could use, and they just chucked it all into that one.
Yeah, and let's face facts, it's the best song we've had so far. Bizarrely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of love the guitar solo in this though. It's got a good. I don't know if we're going to get a bit of that guitar solo in, but it is a good one. Although I did kind of got the vibe of, like, you're watching a band in a pub,
right?
And they're just a pub rock band, but then all of a sudden the guitarist is really good.
Oh, I see. Okay, he's slumming it with the rest.
But he can really, really play, but his guts hanging out. Do you know what I mean? It's
right. Well, let's see if we can find a solo here.
That's a good guitar solo.
Okay, fair enough. That is okay. That is all right. The video for this is incredibly 80s. It's really big, silly big hair and shirts.
A lot of soft focus.
Lots of oh my god, soft focus, wind blowing in the hair, everything. And when again, this was the first single. They made the big video for it. This was going to get the MTV play, but it didn't. It was their last top 40 hit in America, and it only got to number 33. It only got to number 53 over here. Yeah. No one gave a shit.
Well, it's because it's dull.
Yeah.
It's just dull.
And also, I suppose, if you think, we were mentioning a bit about this last week, you do have in the charts, you've got things like Primal Scream and Orbital. Even they might be giants. Mm-hmm. This kind of playfulness coming in. There's a lot more dance music coming through. Mm-hmm. It's not just full of old rock bands. And so Fleetwood Mac are starting to become pretty irrelevant as a singles act.
For sure.
If you look back at the singles from Tango in the Night, there was an inventiveness to it. They were pushing the envelope with little lies and everywhere. It sounded forward thinking, even for 1987 anyway. I still think
those songs hold up now.
Oh, they do. Well, but they're classically 80s at this point. But at the time they didn't sound like everything else in the charts.
Yeah, but you've got to contextualise that with the fact that this is a band that started putting out records, 1969
or something?
Yeah, exactly. So, for a band to be able to do that, to have their first record in the 60s and to put out a contemporary record in the late 80s, I think that's significant.
Oh, it's fantastic. And it also points to the fact of how good a songwriter and producer Lindsey Buckingham was.
For sure.
Because Tango in the Night was going to be a solo album for him. The rest of the band, well, Mick Fleetwood especially, kind of bullied him into making a Fleetwood Mac album. Mm-hmm. But it shows how much influence he had, and now that's gone. They've gone back to this very bland, average sound.
What this record feels like more than anything, it feels like a record without a guiding voice.
Yeah.
And like maybe the fact that Lindsay was the producer held that all together, but there's no narrative that's running through this record at all. Let's get on to the next song, Affairs of the Heart, because this is going to give us another flavour of what's going on.
Right, so Affairs of the Heart, track number 6.
So as soon as I heard this, even before she started singing, I was like, oh, this is a Stevie Nicks song.
Oh, I see. Yeah, straight away.
As soon as I heard that kind of pop there, and I thought about Stevie Nicks solo records.
Yeah.
I was like, this is a Stevie Nicks song. As soon as she started singing, I was like, great. And I'm absolutely all right with this song.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's one of the most interesting ones so far.
Yeah.
Especially lyrically. It's not just love or bland cliches.
Again, it's just a good 80s pop rock kind of. You know, it's there was loads of this kind of stuff knocking around back end of the 80s. You know, Belinda Carlisle,
Yeah, sure.
Jane Wedlin,
Yeah.
Taylor Dane. Do you know what I mean all of those kind of pop rock to a degree?
Bangles.
Yeah, I mean I've put the Bangles in a slightly different class.
Okay, but it's
About-
applying the same photo.
But absolutely within that ballpark. Yeah, decent 80s pop rock affair. I like the feel of it, but there are, admittedly, a lot of similar better songs.
Yeah, true. Yeah, okay. And again, it's not like this would have been a better single or anything like that. It is an album track.
Yeah.
It's another one of whatever they're doing at the minute. It's not pushing any boundaries. It's not reinventing any wheels. But I do like the fact that at least the lyrics to this seem to be more specific to something she actually gives a shit about and something she's dealt with in her life.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'm betting that it's about the end of a relationship that she's kind of bittersweet about it finishing, even though she knows it was doomed from the start.
Yeah.
But it's still never pleasant when it happens.
It's got a fucking dog shit title though, isn't it? Affairs of the Heart.
Yeah. But that sounds like again another daytime TV show
About a heart surgeon doctor, but it's about his relationships.
Excellent. I'm in.
Yeah.
All right. Now you sold me. Yeah.
I think we could have Dirk Benedict as Dr.
Love.
Dr. Love. No, he's going to be Dr. Aorta. Dr. Aorta.
I like it.
Why Aorta? That's his daughter.
Jesus Christ. Oh,
Dr. Aorta and his daughter Why Aorta. She's a bit shorter.
Oh God. Yeah, copyright that shit right now. Someone's listening to this and take it.
Edit all that out. Fucking, I'm a comedian. You're ruining me.
Shall we move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Track 7, When the Sun Goes Down.
When the sun goes down.
This is your man with his rock and roll country influence again, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, this is written by the two new ones, and I was trying to think. Stop this nonsense. Was Billy Ray Cyrus big at this point? Was
Not
he
yet.
doing his thing yet? No.
Not yet, not for a couple of years.
Garth Brooks.
No, I don't think so. That new country revolution wasn't until like kind of 92, 93, was it?
Really?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
No, Achy Breaky Heart would have been before that.
Was it?
That was definitely when I was, probably living in Belfast.
Okay,
Maybe
well, I tell
91.
you what, I mean, so Bill Hicks is doing that stuff on Revelation, isn't he? So,
Yeah.
So that's like 91, 92.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. So about maybe 91. Whatever it was, I suspect this is a movement that's getting bigger in the States, and these two guys have gone, I'll tell you what, people love this shit. Let's put a fucking Zydeco version of a Fleetwood Mac song out.
I'll tell you what it reminds me of is Holiday Road from the Vacation soundtrack.
I have the exact same thing.
Oh, did you
written down.
really?
Yeah. I've got exactly. I have it here. Let's play a bit of this.
Yeah. Exactly.
It, honestly, which is surely someone must have listened to that and gone, all right, so we've got you two guys in to replace Lindsey Buckingham.
Yeah.
You've written a song that sounds like Lindsey Buckingham's Holiday Road.
That is a Lindsey Buckingham song. Jesus Christ.
Why are you doing this?
Oh my God, I forgot that was Lindsey Buckingham.
That's him.
Oh my God.
Why would someone let that on the record?
Well, I mean, for the same reason that Stiltskin had a career. Make us a song that sounds like the Smashing Pumpkins.
Yeah, true. But it just seems bizarre to me that they would come in and go, all right, yeah, we're taking Lindsey Buckingham's place. So here we're going to stamp our own identity on these other ones. But also, here's a bit of a pastiche.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's strange. I think this is a fucking dreadful song.
Oh God, it's awful. Yeah.
Every single bit of it is bullshit.
No, no, sir, I didn't like it.
No. Again, I think it feels out of place, even on an album where there's no through line. I think it sounds particularly out of place.
Yeah.
I think it is a badly written song, and it annoys the piss out of me.
Yeah. I mean, I can see your face, mate. That's actually made you angry, isn't it?
It has annoyed me. And again, surely a producer should have gone, no, not this one. This is too bad and too different.
Okay, well, do you think that maybe... I mean, these are people that are clearly difficult to deal with.
Well, yeah, put it this way, if Mick Fleetwood had a song that he wanted on there, I imagine it would be on there.
Look, when you've got that amount of history and you're on the back of what is essentially a smash hit record, and then, I mean, do you remember how enormous their greatest hits record was when it came out as well?
All of
that
the
one with the green cover.
Yeah.
So literally, the last two releases have been enormous releases. They're going into this with a position of power.
The band are, and especially the long-term members are, but I would have thought the two new guys could have been kept in their place a bit more.
Yeah, well, who knows? Who knows?
But fuck that song.
Yeah, next one is the title track.
Yes, so yeah, this is Behind the Mask, track 8.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the first thing I listened to on this record and went, this is cool.
Right.
Like nice build up.
Yeah. More somber. Bit of an atmosphere to it.
Don't you come too close to me. You're dangerous. Can't you see?
Okay. So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I quite like this song. It goes along quite nicely. It's a kind of a Spanish kind of twangy guitar comes in at one point.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that's quite nice. And then it does this kind of slightly unnecessary soundtracky bit towards the end. And then, as so many songs do, particularly on the back end of this record, it's done what it needs to do, and then it just outstays its welcome by about a minute or so.
Yeah, it kind of peters out.
Yeah, and that's, I've got that as a note from most of these.
Ah, right, yeah.
Most of these songs. It's just so many long outros on these songs.
Yeah. This one, I also thought it was one of the better ones on here. I thought there was a good feel to it. And what I took from the lyrics was, it's either about, the Behind the Mask, it's about someone she can't trust because they hide their true face behind the mask, and so she doesn't want them back in her life, but she doesn't want them anything to do with them. Or is it about her own demons and depression? And that is the person behind the mask that she can't be around. And it's like her, but the bad mental side of her that she doesn't want to deal with.
I just thought the whole thing was about Eric Stoltz.
There's a niche reference.
You'd be laughing your ass off if you got that joke. I'll be totally honest with you. By the time I'd got to this point in the record, I had got so disillusioned with the lyrics. I had broadly stopped. I was still reading them, but I was like, okay. I mean, what they've done by this point is they had lost good faith with me.
Right, okay.
That these songs were about anything.
Well, and most of them aren't, is the absolute truth. Most of them are just absolutely are not. Or are about some nonsense that you don't need to write a song about.
Yeah.
But, no, I think maybe because of that, this one stood out to be a bit more because it wasn't just some bland wishy-washy shit about, I love you, you love me.
Ever the romantic though there, Krista.
Of course, mate, you know me well.
Some wishy-washy shit, I love you, you love me. Tell me again why you're single. Ladies.
But yeah, I can't see myself putting this on any playlists of mine, and I can't see myself listening to it again. If you forced me to, it would be one of the 2 or 3 I would.
Yeah.
That's
I'm with that.
But next, we go to the next one.
Yeah, this is Stand on the Rock.
Yes, it is.
Oh, back into blues territory.
Fuck's sake. I mean, is that a little bit of a rip-off of an AC/DC intro?
Look, it's just that. It's in that ballpark, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, you know, at this point we're in 1990, and you know, kind of middle-aged white men have been ripping off the blues for 40 years.
Got fucking practice.
Yeah, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
this is. I mean, I've just written this is dog shit.
It's awful.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
just nonsense.
I'll be honest with you. I mean, I think the tone has probably been coming through all this, but this was the point for me when I was listening to it, going, I'm really fucked off with this record.
Right.
This is probably the most annoyed I've got with a record we've listened to so far.
Oh, really? More than the Christians?
Yeah, I mean, the Christians, the fact that it is so smug annoys me, right?
Mm-hmm.
What annoys me about this is Fleetwood Mac.
Right. Yeah.
This is, look, and this isn't Fleetwood Mac, let's be honest. This is, we all have bad times in our life, and we often do things we're not proud of, and I'm sure that this is that moment for them, right?
Yeah.
And I'm sure that they don't lose a lot of sleep about this record.
Oh, God, they've probably forgotten it happened.
I mean, well, if you look back, I went on setlist.com, and there's a little tool on there, I don't know if you ever used it, but you can look out over tours, and it'll give you a breakdown of how many songs per album they played, per show, but they'll also aggregate the entire tour. Now, they were doing massive stadium tours over the last 2 years, so they're doing 2.5 hour sets, like playing 24 songs. Of all of those dates, how many songs do you think got played at all from this record? Bearing in mind they were mixing the sets up quite a bit and playing some rarities and things.
It's probably one.
You've gone in a bit high.
Really? Not one?
Not a single song.
Zero.
Not a single song from this album on their massive tours.
Then which one would you do?
I mean, exactly.
Yeah.
So got anything to add on Stand on the Rock?
The whole what it's all about, I think, is terrible. It's my love is a rock. You can't wash it away. You are the sea. You're going out and being wild. I'm your rock. I'll always be here for you. It's like this is a bad metaphor you're using.
Yeah.
It's tired and it's cliched. And it's got just some dreadfully obvious rhymes. It's like, oh, you play so rough, but my love's too tough.
Wow.
Yeah. Don't do that. Don't do that in a song. You don't have to do it. Don't rhyme mountain with fountain.
Yeah.
And don't do this sort of shit. Absolutely never do it. And then the other note I've got is that it sounds like Chris Rea.
Yeah, and that's never good, is it?
that guitar sound, it sounds like Chris Rea to me.
Yeah.
So, again, this is another one. This is Rick Vito, one of the two new guys. It's him doing his fucking country.
Cunty.
Yeah.
Don't rhyme country with country. You don't need to do that, mate.
I'm better than that.
Yeah.
I'm really not. Okay, so we'll take another break from Fleetwood Mac because I think we both need it. Let's look at the singles top 10 in the week that Fleetwood Mac was number one. So we're looking at the week of the 21st of April 1990.
Yeah.
Let's see what is in the top 10. So we're starting off again. We've got a little bit of a hangover at number 10 with B-52's Love Shack. So we've seen this before a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's still lingering around the lower end of the top 10. Number 9, Jason Donovan, Hang On To Your Love, which I think we saw maybe a couple of weeks back.
No, I think that was a different one.
Well, maybe it is because I listened to this and I don't remember it at all.
I mean, they all just sound the same, don't they? These Stock Aitken Waterman songs.
Actually, yes, they very much do sound all the same, don't they? That could be a Kylie song right there.
Yeah.
But I don't remember this whatsoever.
Nah.
Also sounds like that Together Forever one he did.
Together forever,
was that Rick Astley?
forever with you.
Was Rick Astley?
Oh God, no! I mean, again, Stock Aitken and
So,
Waterman.
yeah, sounds like that. So yeah, that was number 9. Number 8, right? We mentioned them earlier. Heart. All I Want to Do Is Make Love to You. So it's a cracking tune.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous
Oh God, in so many ways. It's basically like this is like a Mills and Boone song, but with denim and leather.
But yeah, some bizarre topics going on in this. Like, why would you write a song about these things?
Yeah, I don't know. And it's almost like, and in the end, this man died in 1980.
Camouflage.
Yeah. I don't get me started on camouflage. Fuck it. If you don't, who's it? It's
Stan Ridgway.
Stan Ridgway. If you're listening to this podcast and you don't know the song "Camouflage" by Stan Ridgway, go and listen to it now. And if you don't like it, then stop listening to the podcast.
It's wonderful.
I don't need you as a listener.
But the other thing, this Heart song, it's a classic big rock ballad. You know, it's all the big chords, massive chorus. It's fantastic in that way. But yeah, the themes and the lyrics is about a one night stand. This woman meets a bloke in a bar.
Yeah.
One night stand. Gets pregnant by him. Keeps the baby because she's always wanted a baby. Sees the guy again when she's out with the baby at some point, and he notices that, I think the line is, and when you saw your own eyes.
Yeah.
He's like, oh right, okay, so this is my kid. But the way it's something like, hey, that's a bizarre thing to write a song about. But they put in lines like, he brought the woman in me so many times easily. It's like, okay, so you're talking about a stranger that made you come loads on your one night stand.
I don't think that's an unreasonable. I think that's just a.
But okay, you wouldn't say, and he made me come loads, because you can't say that in a pop song. But to say he brought the woman in me so many times easily.
Yeah.
Oh man, that just makes me shudder.
I mean, it's. I know what you're saying, but I think that's But I think that's a.
That's Jilly Cooper shit right there.
Yeah, of course it is, man. It's straight out of some kind of
It's a middle-aged woman's romance novel.
Yeah, for real. But I mean, is it any worse than any of like the lyrics on any AC/DC record?
She told me to come, but I was already there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's no worse than that.
Nah,
so yeah.
fair. But mate, I can't slate the song because I think it's a fucking brilliant song. I do love
Oh,
it.
it's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
Like Nancy Wilson's just got one of those voices again, hasn't
Oh,
she?
yeah.
She wrote loads of the songs in Almost Famous. You know, all the Stillwater songs in Almost Famous.
I did hear that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, she wrote all of those with, because is she married to Cameron Crowe? Don't keep up with the celeb gossip, man.
No,
maybe we need to start digging into that now we're doing this podcast.
Yeah.
Alone by Heart is...
One of the great songs ever written.
Yeah, for sure.
Incredible. One of the best songs to sing along to.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you can hit those high notes, well done you.
Oh, yeah, but no, I think quite a lot of the fun is definitely knowing you can't, but trying anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the big ones at Montage. Remember we do our Montage nights?
God, yeah.
One of the big ones. Now, and as well, I work in a pub, and there's a load of 20-year-olds work there. They love Alone by Heart.
Nice.
Yeah. It's not as big as Africa by Toto, but they know it and love it.
Some things transcend generations.
Really do. And fair play.
And other things are Behind the Mask by Fleetwood Mac.
Right, next one, number 7. Don't remember this at all. Business, don't miss the party line.
Oh, you're gonna miss the party line. Yeah.
Yeah.
When I said don't wait time, you're gonna miss the party line. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember this.
This rings no bells whatsoever for me.
DJ, where's the bass?
Right. Oh well. And this was big. This was in the top 10 for a good few weeks.
I mean, it's a very of its time sound, isn't it? That,
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that just takes me straight back to that time in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
School discos.
Yeah, that was kind of. It wasn't really school. It was the idea of this something else that was happening. Like when people were talking about, this is a big club record.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I was like, I'm 15. I'm like, my experience of the clubs are like, the youth club.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's happening in these places? And I'm like curious.
Right. Well, lots of drugs, I think was the answer to that.
Well, yeah.
Well, speaking of lots of drugs. Number 6. Happy Mondays, Step On. And this was the first I really knew the Happy Mondays. I didn't know any of the previous bits.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this was fucking massive. Next one, though. Number 5.
I know this. What is this?
Oh, you absolutely know this.
Oh, this Opposites Attract.
Yes.
Oh, it's a different. Yeah, it's this. I know the album version.
Oh, I see. This is the single one, presumably. Yeah. What was it featuring? Who?
MC Scat Cat.
That's him. Thank you.
Scat Cat. I'll be honest with you, mate. I've got 3 cats, and when I got up this morning, one of them shat by my front door. So.
Next one, number 4. I'm not going to play this one. UB40 Kingston Town.
Don't play it.
No.
No.
Number 3 is Snap the Par, which we had last week. Number 2, we've talked about this one briefly before. Alana Miles, Black Velvet.
Yeah.
I still think it's a great song.
Like I said to you, I love hate it. I always say I love hate it. I love the song and hate myself for liking it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's so bad, but I do like it.
Indeed. But number 1 this week, having gone in a couple of weeks back and moved up,
What are you looking at?
Madonna's Vogue.
Big tune.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I know you're a huge Madonna fan.
Yeah.
1990. Are you still keeping up with everything she's doing?
Absolutely.
When this came out, were you impressed?
I love this song when
Yeah.
it came out. Yeah, absolutely love this one. I mean, I was because this is the year Immaculate Collection kind of comes out, isn't it?
Yes, exactly.
And I think we'll talk about that later on.
Yeah,
this year.
end of the year, Christmas one.
Yeah, I mean, I love Madonna. I loved Madonna as a kid. I still love Madonna now. I don't love her output as much now as I did. I don't think she's making great choices recently, maybe. But I also still believe that there is absolutely another great era of Madonna coming.
Oh, really? Yeah. You reckon she's got an album there?
Absolutely believe it. She'd never count her out. She is not done.
No, but for her, does the case need to be that she finds the right producer?
Look, I think the thing with Madonna is it's too simplistic to look at it like a manufactured pop act where songwriters and producers are found for them. And I think what she's always been very good at throughout her career is seeing something that somebody's doing, going after them and making that sound hers.
Okay, right. So the other way around.
Yeah. So when you look at she had like Jelly Bean Benita, she had that kind of period. She had worked with all kinds of different obviously on the last I would say the big jag of hers when she kind of worked with William Orbit.
Yeah, definitely.
Because again Frozen was quite a few years after. After a little bit of what you would, argue was a bit of a fallow period, after kind of bedtime stories and erotica,
Sure, yeah.
back into with,
That was a big hit, that album for her.
It was a great album. It was a brilliant album. I was working in a record store while that album was out.
Yeah.
I heard that record every day, and I still love that record.
Right.
But I think at some point she will find a sound. Or she'll find someone that's doing something that she wanted to. Because, there was that really interesting Liam Howlett thing, wasn't there? Where before the Prodigy were, I think they'd broken massive. Madonna was trying to get Liam Howlett to produce for her. Really? And his comeback to that was, no, that's my sound and you can't have it.
Okay. Because he knew what would happen.
And I think, that's it. It's like, those people that she had that produced with her don't necessarily go on to have enormous legacies beyond the fact that they were that era of Madonna.
Right, true. Yeah, but that's kind of the end of their journey, is making Madonna a better.
Yeah, but what's quite interesting though is again, my knowledge is not encyclopedic here, so email me if I'm wrong. But you didn't see Madonna kind of go straight in for the obvious things that everyone's doing. There's not the NERD collaboration. Okay, sure. There wasn't the Timbaland collabs.
No.
All of those things where they're going after the big zeitgeist producers. She always goes slightly outside of that, and that's why it stands differently. And again, you go if she'd got the Prodigy sound, what could she have done with it? Who knows?
Well, there you go. But number one, Vogue. I also remember the first time I saw the video for that. I thought it was amazing.
Yeah. Funnily enough, I was doing a comedy night the other night, and I asked one of the other acts what their favourite Madonna song was, and she said it was Vogue.
Really?
Yeah. Shout out to Maisie Adams. If you haven't seen Maisie Adams do comedy, go and see her. She's fucking brilliant. In fact, I think her show is called Vague.
Oh, nice. Okay. Right, that would do it. But she didn't say Like a Prayer.
We had a conversation about Like a Prayer.
Right, okay.
I explained to her why I thought she may have been wrong.
Yeah, because exactly, the question really is, what's your second favourite Madonna song?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's no point in usually just going first.
What's the greatest pop song of all time? But
yeah.
I suspect we've got listeners that may not agree with us.
Well, they could be wrong, that's fine.
I suspect we've got listeners. I suspect we fucking haven't.
Calm down, Mark Maron.
Mark Marrow.
Right, okay. Well, so there you go. That is the top 10. But we do need to finish off Fleetwood Mac's Behind the Mask. We are nearly there, though. We're at track 10.
Is this hard feelings?
It is hard feelings.
Let's just get through this as quickly as we can.
Yeah. Okay. Hard feelings. Track 10.
Yeah. Right. Now I reckon if you asked the band at the time about this, they'd go, "Yeah, this is kind of our Beatles number."
Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
I reckon they think this sounds like kind of psychedelic period. The
Right.
Beatles,
All right.
Lyrically, he likes her. She doesn't like him.
Yeah.
Couldn't give a fuck.
Regretting getting involved with someone because it's never going to work. How difficult it is.
There are some nice vocal harmonies on this track.
I like I've made a note of it, kind of the descending guitar line. I think that's okay.
Yeah, there are some notable moments in it, but it is produced within an inch of its life.
Yeah.
There is significant production on this record. I'll be honest with you, none of it's particularly showy, but it's a record that's had a lot of the edges smoothed.
Oh, it's got the life sucked out of it.
Oh yeah.
It's been put through every production machine possible to make it as bland and inoffensive.
Yeah, and I've got a feeling that there wasn't that much life in this record anyway.
No, that's
for
true.
the most part.
No, you're absolutely right. There's
okay. So yeah, anything to add on Hard Feelings?
The only thing I noticed was that it's co-written by one of the new guys, Billy Burnett, and this guy called Larry Silbar. Never heard of him. Who's he? Looked him up. In the same year, in 1990, he won a Grammy for co-writing "Wind Beneath My Wings"
by Bette Midler.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So that's the sort of, which is again, it's bizarre to me if that's the sort of people that Fleetwood Mac are getting in to help them co-write. I'm wondering what are they looking for? What do they think is going to come of this?
Well, why do you need a co-writer if you've got 4 songwriters in your band?
Because they can't write good songs, it turns out. Or they can't write 13 songs that are any good.
I think what I think is they can't write songs together.
That surely is the case. That each of them comes to the table going, "Here's one I've done before. This is what's happening."
Yeah, I mean that's the thing, you know. Obviously there are songwriting partnerships and there are songwriting competitions, and there are bands with one great songwriter. But how many bands are there really with that many songwriters in them?
The Beatles.
I mean, the Beatles have got 2 though, really.
I don't know. George has got some crackers now.
Yeah, okay, but the drop off for 3rd place is big.
Sure. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, you're right. He has, but yeah, okay.
Let's move on to the next one. Next one's called Freedom.
I've got to take a second though. I do fucking love Stevie Nicks' voice.
Oh, it is a great... Yes, true. It is a classic voice.
I've got to be honest with you. It sounds like you're not a fan of this one at all.
The song, no, I'm not.
See, this is one of my favourites on the record.
Really?
Yeah, really like this one. It's got a nice simple feel to it. It's got a nice vocal on it. At this point, I was I was probably assessing songs on how reasonable their outro was.
That's right, sure. And is it short enough?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this is a good song. I think it's a nice, succinct, well-written song. So far for me on this record, Stevie Nicks is pretty much 2 for 2.
I see, okay.
Highlights, but then I put a little asterisk next to this one. This might be my favourite song on the record.
Well, no, I'm surprised that I think there's no tune to it again. I think lyrically it's more interesting, but I couldn't work out exactly the dynamics of the relationship she's talking about in there. I seem to get that it's about a relationship that someone either tried to steal her man, but it also could be that she stole someone else's man. I wasn't sure which way around it was going.
Well, I think it's coming from she's been scorned. I can't work out whether the outcome is that the other woman got rejected and she's the stupid one,
right,
or whether Stevie got rejected and she's the stupid one.
Right. Yeah.
I can't quite work out the status of it, but it almost doesn't matter, does it?
No, true enough. Co-written by Mike Campbell, who's the guitarist of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Nice.
Yeah, that was his input in that as well.
This sounds like a song that would fit on a Fleetwood Mac record.
I'd say it sounds more like it would fit on a Stevie Nicks solo record.
Well, yeah, I mean there is that as well, but yeah, okay, fair enough. I'll give you that. But I like this one best. But I've got a soft spot for Stevie Nicks, so
right, sure, okay. So you're predisposed to like that a bit more. No, fair enough. I'll give you the voice for sure. She's got. It's not Nancy Wilson from Heart. You know, for me, it's not even Karen Carpenter, but she's got such a distinctive voice.
Exactly
that you know exactly what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. There's a tone to it, and there's just it's one of those voices you want to hear what it's saying.
Okay, well, it's a yes from you. It's a pretty much no. Not a fucking Christ never again no from me, but didn't do anything for me, that song. But we're nearly there. Track 12 of 13.
Yeah.
When It Comes to Love. I'm gonna stop that.
I mean, this is another song about ambiguous love.
Yeah, isn't it kind of? We got to take it slow, so we don't rush into things and don't scare me off.
Because as we all know, cautious love.
Yeah, I think that was the B-side of love. Big Love, wasn't it?
Cautious. Looking at the love, slightly more cautious love. 3 years have passed, lessons have been learned. Let's not rush into things. I've had my fingers burned once, and I shan't have them burned again. I'll tell you. Fucking cautious love. Another fucking 8 minutes worth of intro on this piece of shit as well.
Yeah.
Rubbish.
You see who wrote this one?
Anyone in particular?
Well, it's Burnett, the new guy.
Yeah.
With a writing partnership, Dennis Morgan and Simon Climie. As in
Climie Fisher.
Of Climie Fisher.
Well, that changes everything.
Hey! And there's another niche reference for you people.
Exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, apparently he at this time, he's through the 90s he was also writing for other people as well. Mm-hmm. But at this time he was doing a lot of writing for record labels.
But I mean, I remember from the chart show, producer, right, all that stuff coming out in the text.
Yeah. Right.
But I don't. But I'm remembering that now.
Fine.
I probably haven't thought about that for 30 years.
Right. So. Well, it turns out as well, because this little nugget I found out, Dennis Morgan and Simon Climie, they wrote a lot of stuff together.
Yeah.
One of the songs they wrote was George Michael, Aretha Franklin, I Knew You Were Waiting, which is also a much, much better song than this bullshit.
Oh God, this is. I mean. Yeah. This is not a good song.
No, I think this is again bland nothingness. There's no hook to it. No bite. You'll never remember this instance it stops. It's track 12 on an album of Bland.
Yeah.
They're not suddenly going to go, oh, here's the hit, chuck this in at number 12. This is just a continuation of nothing. It's...
Yeah, anyway, right, so that's When It Comes to Love, that's track 12.
Yeah.
And, I mean, let's hope we're going to finish strong then with the second time.
Was it in my mind, or was it true? That woman you
And this is the song where I find that my soft spot for Stevie Limits really does have a limit.
Okay, yeah.
And we have reached it, because this is fucking dreary, isn't it?
Really, really dull.
I mean, it's dreary. I mean, it doesn't do anything else than that.
No, that's it. There's 2.5 minutes or whatever it is.
2.5 minutes of that. It doesn't change. It's too simple. Sorry, it's not good enough to be that simple.
Right.
If you know what I mean.
Sure.
The component, it's not like you've got one great bit and that's all it needs to sustain it. But it's rubbish. The only positive thing you can say about that song is it's 2.5 minutes long.
Sure. And it's the last one on this album.
Yeah. And as I heard that, I went, I'm never going to have to hear any of the songs on this record again.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a very strange way to finish the album. It's like the whole album has just petered out, like every single song did. But I also understand they probably couldn't have put it out anywhere else in the album. You wouldn't have stuck that in the middle.
I don't think anyone that's listened to this is going to be surprised that we don't like this record.
No, I hope that came through. I hope we were clear.
Yeah.
I don't want anyone to be in any doubt that I think this is really bad.
Again, if you've put out as many records as these guys are, you're allowed this record.
Sure, and like you say, they don't play any of it live, so they're not inflicting it on anyone anymore. No one's introducing their friend to Fleetwood Mac by giving them this album.
Yeah.
It's done. It's gone. It's forgotten.
This is, this record is like the kind of the 12-year-old kid that's acting up because his parents have got divorced.
Right.
That's what this is. This is the product of a difficult time. This record, but I mean, even so, it boggles the mind. This record is so carelessly put together.
Yeah.
I cannot comprehend what process comes where these tracks, as they are first of all deemed acceptable. But even if you go, right, well, this is what we've got, that they're put together in this order.
Yeah. But then again, you couldn't have it where all of Nick Vito's bad country songs were the first 4 tracks, and then it was Christine McVie's slow ballads, because that would be even weirder, I think.
Well, maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it wouldn't. Maybe it at least have zones, and it would be a journey.
True.
It's a criticism that's often levelled at movies, but this feels like a record that's been made by committee.
Yes. No one gave a shit about anyone else's songs.
Nah.
But they had to do their bit on them.
Yeah, I mean, in the weird political world we're in, actually, maybe this is quite a good object lesson in actually what moving towards the centre in terms of compromise could actually be. Because everyone's stuck to their guns here and they've produced a load of shit.
Yeah.
They really have. This is a bad record.
Yes, I agree.
I mean, obviously we're listening to it out of context over the time.
Oh, yeah, because like you said, the singles on this album didn't even break the top 40 over this way. I had heard none of these songs before, not one.
No.
So this is all brand new to us 28 years after it was released. So yeah, this is we're going from a slightly unfair point of view.
Sure.
Because it's of the time, like we said.
But I actually don't think it is. I think we've said that quite a bit. I think this album would have sounded dated when it came out.
Oh, sorry. Yes, I agree. Yes, but only by 2 or 3 years at that point. Like I think it's an 87, 88.
Okay, but 2 or 3 years in pop music is a very long time.
It totally is. And let's face it, we just did Violator and Sinead O'Connor.
Yeah.
Which I can say they are of the time as well.
Yeah.
But they are much better and much more forward looking. This is backward looking.
Do you think this is a point of a band just trying to be relevant but having run out of ideas?
I think this is a sign of a band clinging on to anything they can. They're not. I'd say they're definitely not happy as a band. I think there's no cohesion with the 2 new members and the 3 existing members before. And it sounds to me like they are just doing it because they have to put an album out.
Do you think like the two new guitarists are like, so if the band the band are the relationship, and they've gone, well, why don't we have a couple of kids and see if that helps?
yeah, that's very true. It's a good analogy.
We'll pour our love into these kids, and hopefully it will yield something. And what it will yield is a shit Lindsay Buckingham cover, and it's
lots of country.
The thing, I found it very difficult to make notes on this podcast, and I actually found it quite difficult to have the conversation today in a way more, because I don't get any pleasure out of slagging a record off, right?
Sure.
I mean, I quite enjoy it if it's funny.
Yeah,
But the problem with this record is it's just so mediocre. It's just boring and bland, and it's a waste of everyone's fucking time.
It is. It's
energy.
a total waste of time, and they must have realised this because only one song of this was on a 2 CD best of.
Yeah.
They're not playing it live.
Yeah.
The 2 guitarists went off and did something else after this because they didn't stay in there. Because why fuck would you stay and play those songs? It's a moment in their history that is just done and gone, and they don't have to think about it again. It's just dull shit.
So it's bollocks. Okay, so not our best record so far, but we do have to pick some songs to go on our playlist.
Yeah, according to our own rules, we have to include at least one song from every album, the UK #1 album that we're talking about, to go on the playlist.
Yeah. Okay. If you were listening last week, by the way, when we talked about the Depeche Mode record, and you wondered why we didn't select any songs, obviously that was never a #1 record. It was just a #2. We talked about it because it had come out that week. We thought it was notable. We thought it was something we could have a conversation about in the absence of a #1 record. So that's what we did. But we won't select songs for it. So, okay, Krista, what have you got any that you are desperate to put on there?
The only one that I would put on there, or the one that I would put on there most, is the really weird 7-minute one in the back of my mind. And I know that is probably not what people want to listen to.
Oh, God, it's going to ruin the pop.
It's going to stand out like a sore thumb.
Oh my God, isn't it though? Conceivably at the minute we can go I wish it would rain down into this. But I mean, it's the one we like the best, I think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously you've got your Stevie Nicks favourite.
But you hate that.
I thought it was bad.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't think that if we've got no consensus we can do it.
But especially not if it's a Duff album like this.
I mean, it's a Duff album.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would go with that. If we needed a second, as I say, for me it would be that second Stevie song. But the title track you could make a case for, but I don't feel inclined to.
Oh, absolutely not. No, we've made the decision that there has to be at least one.
Yeah.
We don't have to do any more than that.
Okay, well, this gets the weird Terminator track. What's it called?
In the back of my mind.
In the back of my mind. But yeah, thank you for joining us again through a rocky road, through I'm glad I listened to the Carpenters. I know you're more glad than I am.
Yep.
I'm glad I've taken the time to listen to this Fleetwood Mac album because it makes me appreciate the other records all the more. Okay, so Chris, what have we got next week?
Next week we have something that's going to be hopefully a little bit more fun than this one. Is Soul to Soul's second album.
Nice. I bought that when it came out. I've still got my vinyl copy of it downstairs. So,
very nice. Right. Okay. Well, yeah, we're definitely going to know that one a lot more than this. So we've got some history with it.
When was the last time you listened to it?
Oh God, many years ago for the second album. Yeah.
Yeah, I listened to it not that long ago. We'll have a fun talk.
Oh God. Okay. Well, that's next week. Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us, guys. Bye.